Welcome to the Contractor's Revenue Disruptor Podcast, where we teach you to win $1 million contracts. I'm Michael D. Young. What's up, everybody? My name is Michael D. Young, and I am your host for the Revenue Disruptor Podcast. I'm so excited to have a friend, a person that has grown up in this industry we call construction. And I'm telling you, it's a crazy industry, but I'm so glad that he accepted this invitation to tell you more about his journey and what you can do to continue to grow your business. And so, Fabian, thank you for being here today. Fabian Cook of Grassland Enterprises. Listen, man, I know your journey has been a tremendous one. I remember, I think we got our first knowledge of you through a friend of a friend that said, hey, I know somebody that's looking for work. And this was during the time that we were just kind of still ramping up and growing. And you were looking to break into the industry. And I know you're doing electrical work. So can you tell us more about maybe your business, kind of how you got started? How did you get into construction? A little bit about your company and what you're doing now.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, it's funny. I worked at a local theme park coming out of high school, and I was sitting in the cafeteria and I had a newspaper and it said, "Earn while you learn." And it was a electrical company offering an apprenticeship program.
Okay.
And I was like, man, this is a dead end job here probably. So I need to get something better for me, for my education and for my future. So I took on the opportunity. I kept my job at the theme park because I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not on the weekends. And I just took that leap of faith and joined with a large electrical company here back in 1998. And I just kept breaking through glass ceilings. I have some bumps and bruises along the way. But I saw myself as a leader within the organization, and I didn't see any growth there. So I kept pushing, and I've completed the apprenticeship program. And I said, you know what, one day I can probably do this. And just before my last employer, I've only worked for 3 companies my whole life. Just before he laid me off, he said, Fabian, you will be able to sustain in this industry. And I took that as him pushing me into my destiny. So that's been my journey since 2007 is when I started the organization. And I've just been trying to grow methodically. Everyone wants to go from 0 to 100, and I'm just conservative about my approach of how I grow the business. So I did a bunch of residential and service work. And I said, you know what? I need to convert over to the commercial industry. And I think that's around the time when I met ACY, your organization. So that was a big pivotal point for me, transitioning over to the commercial world. And I've just slowly started to grow my business now to a pretty substantial, in my case. We've grown substantially over the years.
So how much revenue are you doing annually now?
Right now we're doing $15 million in revenue.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, I don't know if y'all heard that or not, but he said right now we're doing $15 million of annual revenue. Listen, y'all, we talking about a young black man doing $15 million in the electrical industry. Like, for real, bro. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. Like, no, I want you to soak in this moment to know that it's huge.
Yeah.
Like, I can look, I've researched the industry. I know who's doing what in our industry, in our community. And I'm telling you right now, there's not a lot of people like Fabian that listen, you all, this is a testament to what you can do. And I'm sure your faith had a big part in all of this, but this is a testament of what you can do, because Fabian just told us he started out through an apprenticeship program. And I think I actually made a post about this with my business coach, because he was asking, how does someone get into the construction industry? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, there's a couple different ways. And you came and basically explained one of the ways, mm-hmm. going through apprenticeship program, learning the trade, mm-hmm. then eventually starting your own business, doing what you've learned and have mastered. Mm-hmm. And that's also, I mean, you mentioned earlier some of the bumps and bruises that you experienced while, going through the apprenticeship program. Can you talk a little bit about some of those bumps and bruises that you had maybe at that time?
Just really my lifestyle outside of, my lifestyle was, make some poor decisions in my life. Yeah. And a lot of my personal friends and family know about that. Yeah. And I just had to overcome those challenges and get my head focused on my family and what's more important to me. So
So what you think caused that change for you?
Really my kids and my family, everyone that cares about me, my wife, just wanted more from me. Yeah. And I think I was just settling for something that I had outgrown. You know what I mean? Yeah. Coming out of high school is like, man, you still doing this? You know? So I had outgrown all of that, and I just had to have a different perspective on life. Right.
So at some point you had a change in your mindset. Mm-hmm. Like, and for you, it sounds like it was your family, your children, mm-hmm. Your marriage that helped inspire you to become the better version of yourself, right? Yes. And I would say for me, that was my faith. Like, mm-hmm. I believe God helped me to get to that next level mm-hmm. in my life, where I wasn't the person I really should be. Yes. And I think a lot of people go through that. I'm sure there's somebody that's watching this today that either they're in that position or that they know someone mm-hmm. that was there. Like, I look at my son's life, I'm like, boy, you was raised in the church, and I seen him go through some challenges in life. Mm-hmm. But at some point, especially we have praying parents. Yeah, we all come to the realization that this is not me. This is not what I'm about. And now we have a guy that was working at a theme park, right now doing $15 million in annual revenues mm-hmm. as a electrician in the subcontracting world. So I guess what else would you give maybe as you look back over your life? What other tips would you give maybe that person that's like you? If you could talk to that 20, 21, 22-year-old that maybe it was in the same position as you, what would you tell them today?
It's okay if you're coming out of high school and you weren't ready to go to college. I went through a college program. I'm actually getting my executive MBA right now at Rollins. But I wasn't prepared mentally coming out of high school. So there are alternatives versus hanging out on the block, trying to make a quick dollar. Yeah. There's other opportunities that are available for you. So if you can pick up a trade, there's cybersecurity, there's a slew of things at Valencia Community College or State College now that you could pick up to start a career and change the trajectory of your life. Right. With me making that decision, it changed my area code. It changed the dynamics of where my kids went to school, whether they went to college or not, just because I made a decision. So if you make a decision, you can change your whole legacy.
That's awesome, bro. Mm-hmm. That's a powerful statement. Mm-hmm. If you can make a change, you possibly can change your entire legacy. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Let's talk about a couple things. There are so many thoughts going through my head right now in regards to how happy I am for your growth. Mm-hmm. And bro, not just in the business, mm-hmm. but for your personal growth. Mm-hmm. Just to hear you talk about, like, that's something to be excited about. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Like, for real. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people in our community that never get out, that never make it. Mm-hmm. And you've been blessed, you've been fortunate enough mm-hmm. that you've gotten to where you are. And let's talk about maybe your journey with the business and how you started out. I know you mentioned you started doing residential work, and you mentioned, hey, I was doing residential work, service work, and I know you did some work at our office when we had an office back then. You know, you used to come and help us out with different things or whatever. So can you kind of talk about maybe that journey from, you know, doing the residential work, why maybe you started there, and then talk about going from there into the commercial side?
Well, I just did not see the growth, and not to sound arrogant, but the jobs we were doing light commercial, but I just didn't see this as my future. You know, I didn't think I can be build a multi-million-dollar company doing those kind of projects. Not that, again, I'm not arrogant.
No. Let's stay there, but let's stay there for a second. I think that's important to talk about.
Yeah.
You didn't see yourself doing multi-million-dollar projects, doing what you were doing. So you recognize, number one, that there was something in you that could do larger projects.
Exactly.
Yeah. Talk about that for a second.
I mean, because like I explained in the beginning, I kept breaking through glass ceilings, and it frustrates my wife because I'm never satisfied. I just keep pushing, and we hit a milestone, and it's like, you're about to do something else? Yes, I'm about to do something else. I'm still going. So so it's important to not settle. And I'm not saying that you can't do well in residential, you can't do well in service. It's proven people are doing well in those industries, just not for me. And for me to scale my business, I knew that I had to transition over into the commercial world, specifically municipal, for the opportunities that were available. And I was able to scale within that industry.
Okay.
So that was one of the main reasons why we came up with a new marketing strategy to transition to that market.
Okay. So first, I heard a couple of things I think is very important to pinpoint for the listeners, is that the first thing was you knew within yourself you had the ability to go further. And I think that transcends a lot of just the superficial things that we could talk about. But you had to know for yourself, Fabian knows I could do better than this.
Exactly.
And then you stated that you saw that there were other opportunities, and then you developed a marketing plan around that. So if we're going to talk about strategy, so that's part of my S3 framework: sales, strategies, and systems. I believe you need all three in order to scale your business, right? So let's talk about your marketing strategy. What changed in your marketing strategy, and what advice would you give to others that's looking to scale their business? Some things that you've implemented.
Well, I felt that there were limited opportunities for me of what I really wanted to do. So I decided to pursue markets that value diversity and inclusion. Okay. So I went with those type of clients, and that's within the municipal realm. Okay. Clients who value diversity and inclusion. So once we started targeting that market, we started seeing the doors open. And I know it's a little frustrating. You go to the networking events, you get tired of the chicken wings and celery, and it's like, man, I wasted my time and I didn't get an opportunity. But the very last time before we started to see success, I didn't eat anything on that one. And I just was intentional when I went there. I said, you know what, I'm going to be outspoken. I'm going to voice my opinion, and I'm going to essentially demand an opportunity. And I did that in so many words. And the company and the organizations that were there gave me that opportunity. Awesome. And I did that project like it was my last, because I knew that this was my shot. You know, this was my opportunity. So the biggest thing that us as individuals is we want that opportunity, but we're not prepared for it. And I think that's the definition of success. That's preparation meaning opportunity. So I was prepared, I was pushing. And I think that was the time where we got our biggest opportunity, and that catapulted us into our success. Okay, awesome. So let's talk about that opportunity. What was that opportunity, and how did you get it? Like, was it through RFQ? Was it through hard bid? What was the process? It was RFQ.
Okay.
It was for a local school, Orange County Public Schools.
Okay.
I think ACY bid on that project, Washington Shores Primary Learning Center.
Okay.
But it was an opportunity where I was brought in for an interview against two other large competitors, and I knew more about the project than my competitors did. They were larger than me. They had the bonding capacity. They had this, they had that.
Right.
But I was more knowledgeable, and that general contractor partnership with another MBE gave an opportunity for us. They were advocates for us. You know what? Awesome. We're going to give Grassland this opportunity. We're going to stick our neck out. And I didn't want to let them down, and they gave us that opportunity.
Wow, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I heard so many nuggets within what you said, like being prepared for the opportunity once you get it, not messing up the opportunity, because if you're successful in that opportunity, it leads to other opportunities. Like you spoke so many gems in that piece. And for those that don't know what an RFQ process is, it's a request for qualification. So this is part of my R3 framework that I teach from. R3 meaning relationships, resume, and resources. And I believe that you need all three of those R's in order really to be successful. You need the relationship. So you spoke of another company advocating for you. So obviously you had to have some type of relationship there. You also spoke to resume, meaning you had to have some type of qualifications, and you demonstrated, I can do this. And I think that's really, really important for us to not just say we can do something, but how do we demonstrate that on paper? Like, how do we communicate that on paper that, hey, I've done this work, I've done everything up to this point. And I think that's what impressed me about you, Fabian, from the time that I met you. Like you said, you always try to master having all the knowledge and awareness about a project. Like you knew it from start to finish. I think even when we were trying to get you on Jones High School, right? And we partnered you up with, I think, Pace Electric. And out there, like, you weren't even the prime subcontractor, but you still knew a lot about the job. And I think that's a testament to your character. And I think that speaks volumes to maybe those that are watching. Like, you need to know your stuff. You need to be on top of it, even if you're not the prime person. Like, even if you're not the main point of contact, you should know the project in and out. You should know every detail, because people see value in that.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off that, Mike, you giving us that opportunity. No, we were not the prime, but they gave us the experience to say, when this other opportunity came, yes, we've been on the school. You know, we've done quite a few smaller projects, but all of those were needed to get that one opportunity. If I was like, nah, I don't want to do the small job, then it would have hurt us when we went for that opportunity. So building that resume is so valuable and so important. So when you do get that opportunity, you can show the proof that, hey, I have experience.
Right. That's awesome, bro. I mean, I love when people come into the podcast and start talking about things I teach, because it just so much more validates what I'm saying. Like, we cannot overlook the smaller projects when we have them, but now we can say, okay, I did perform this scope of work on the same type of project. Like, it's a school, it's a K through 12. We were installing feeders, or we was running circuits, or whatever it was. We're doing the same thing on this next project, just maybe it's a little bit larger. So if you value me as a reliable, capable contractor, then surely if I did it on this job, I can do it on the next. And I think that's really, really good, man. What other advice would you give to people when it comes to not overlooking the small jobs, even though they're trying to grow? Like, how do you incorporate both?
I would say have a purpose of which direction you want to go. We get flooded with emails daily of different requests, proposal, invitations to bid. And I try to be selective on the markets that we're going towards. If you're doing gas stations, and that's your focus, pursue those opportunities within that industry. That probably was a bad example, but just segmenting the direction you want to go. Right. And that way you're just not out here just making
chasing
money.
Anything.
Yeah, chasing anything. You have a purpose. So that way, when you get to the larger opportunity, you can show a track record. Right. You know, I was doing this, we went to this, and we slowly grew the organization. So being intentional is so important.
What's up, everybody? If you are a construction contractor and you're looking to win $1 million contracts, grow and scale your business, I help contractors win $1 million contracts so they can make more money working fewer projects with less employees. And we do this through my mentorship program. In my mentorship program, we have bi-monthly group coaching, we have CEO groups, we provide you an online course, and we teach you the strategies you need in order to scale your business, and we help implement the systems you need on the back end to support your growth. Because number one, you definitely need the resume, the resources, and the relationships to scale your business. Then we've recently added a mentor protege program with major corporations. This is huge because number one, it allows you to learn how other major corporations desire their projects to be run, so you understand their expectations. You're learning, growing, and developing relationships with major corporations, which always leads to more business opportunities. I want to tell you, no one else is doing this in the industry, and you've come to the right place. If you are looking to truly grow and scale your business, I've done it over and over again. I've won multiple awards for scaling a construction company, and I want to show you everything that I did to do it. So if you're looking to scale, grow your business, win $1 million contracts, sign up right now for my free training. It's very simple. It'll be on the screen, and we'll see you soon. God bless. Awesome, bro. So, you know, that speaks to resume, that speaks to a marketing strategy. And I would tell anybody, if you're getting into this business, instead of just chasing one project after the next, running around like a dog with, you know, no tail, like it's kind of like you have to have a strategy specifically on what you're trying to accomplish. And I think, you know, I have one client, they were like, hey, Michael, I want to do $2 million worth of work. And I'm like, okay, client says, should I go after this $80,000 job? I'm like, no. And the client was like, what you mean? Why not? I need work. I said, I know you need work, but how many $80,000 projects do you need in order to do $2 million worth of work? Exactly. And I'm like, now you're taking time away, right, from focusing on what you need to focus, because maybe you need a $250,000 project, and you could be spending that time. Like, how focused are you all when it comes to your strategy on that?
It's so difficult now because I have clients that knew me 15 years ago when I was real hungry, and they call me now, and it's like, oh, you too busy. Now, you know, and it's not the point that I'm too busy. Is that I'm just so focused. You know, I can't put guys on a $250,000 project when I have them on a $5.5 million project. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm pulling my resources for that, and it doesn't equal out. So I have to have those hard conversations, and what I do is try to refer them to someone who I feel comfortable with, and that way it's me extending an opportunity for an up and coming electrical contractor. So it's like a win all the way around, you know. And maybe when that same GC has a larger company, larger project available, I may or may not be available, but at least I salvaged that relationship. You know, I didn't just say, "Sorry, I'm busy," and hung up the phone. You know, I tried to create a way. I think you've even called me sometimes, and it's no offense or anything. It's just I'll refer you someone, but I just don't have the time. You know, it's limited human capital available for everyone. So,
that's awesome. But at least you're very focused on what you're doing. Like you said, you're still trying to help people get their needs met, and you're pointing them, referring them to other folks in the industry that can help them. When it comes to maybe how you've grown the business, like you're doing $15 million worth of work. You just mentioned having, a $5 million job. Like, how difficult was it to grow to that size, or to acquire, procure projects that size? Like, how difficult was it, or what did you do specifically to get there?
First and foremost, there's nobody but God. I mean, to have that opportunity, 7-8 years ago, you wouldn't have told me I'd be doing $15 million worth of work. So it was just really my faith, number one, and also just being consistent with my clients that I cater to, satisfying their needs and showing them that I'm responsible as a contractor. I always tell folks, or my team, we offer large company experience and value with small company attention to detail. So a lot of large companies, they forget about that attention to detail with their clients. We're big now. We don't have to deal with that foolishness. No, what is the problem? How can we address your needs? Clients like that. So when you can do those smaller things and show that you have the large company experience, you can grow and scale the business. And then when those opportunities come available, you can say, hey, we've done X, Y, Z. Why not give us this opportunity? You know what our goals are. You know what our accomplishments are. So extend those opportunities to us. And we've been fortunate. We have like a 90% success rate as far as the projects that we seriously pursue. We win them 90%.
Oh, wow. That's high, bro.
Yeah.
That's high. Yeah. That's real high. Congratulations on that. I mean, there was a point in my business. I've since changed my business model since the pandemic. Like, my whole business model has totally shifted. So now I'm focused on, like you, getting larger projects but fewer of them. So instead of doing 10 $1 million jobs, I just want to do one.
Exactly.
So I'm keeping my overhead low. I'm keeping my stress low, because I did that scale growth, hyper growth thing, and I'm good, So I've been there, learned that, figured that's not really what I want. So maybe can you give a couple strategies you've used to scale your company? Like, if you was talking to somebody in that camera right now, like, two things you could think of that resonates most with you on how you grew your company to be a $15 million company? What would those two things be?
Number one, you have to have the capital to scale your business to that scale. You have to have those resources. If you do not have the capital resources, you cannot expand your business. A lot of these projects, you wouldn't be paid for 60, 90 days at some point. So to scale to that level and play with the big boys is what I say. You have to have the capital resources to do that. Okay. This is outside of just experience, and you can do the job. You got to have the experience. And also the second thing is you have to focus on your employees. Your employees are your biggest assets.
Yes, sir.
You can land a $15 million job, but who's going to do it?
Right.
So Grassland values their employees. I go above and beyond, probably too much, but Grassland tries to create that family culture for our employees.
Awesome.
To make them want to show up day in and day out, That's give good. 110%. It's hard to tell a company, hey guys, we're working 6/10s for 9 months. And they're like, okay, boss, no problem. You can't get that out of most individuals. They burn out, But when everyone understands the goals and the visions, they can push and they'll come through for you. So resources, all of it's resources, human capital. That's right. And finances. That's right. That's how you scale a business.
I told you, man, you need to just come teach my class. Like for real, because I mentioned R3, and that's the resources. Yeah. And you hit that without us even having a conversation about it, that's how I know you legit. That man legit, y'all, because he's speaking it from what he's lived, what he's gone through, and spot on. Like, it's so big. So one of the things I teach is, how do you create your company to be one of the greatest places to work? You know, they have this award called Best Places to Work. And I think for companies in our communities, like, we should start thinking that way. Like, how can I make this like one of the best places to work? And sometimes it's doing things we don't like to do because we're so task oriented. We forget about, hey, our employees need to have fun. They need to wake up wanting to come to work.
Exactly.
So how can we incentivize them to actually want to come do what they're doing now? I think that's really huge, man. And listen, bro, my business coach says this: you can't build a business bigger than you build yourself.
Yes.
And truly, I've seen you pour into yourself, man. You say you're working on your executive MBA, and that's huge because you're working on you.
Yes.
And as you build yourself, your company then just grows automatically.
Absolutely.
Just because you grew. Like, if you think about your journey all the way to now, you kept building yourself better. And as you built yourself better, everything else kind of followed along.
Absolutely.
You want to maybe talk about that for a second?
Yes, it's important to invest in yourself, because if you have to really believe in your organization. If you don't believe in it, who else is? So I really take my business serious. When I first bought, I had never bought a brand new vehicle. And the first one I bought brand new was for the organization. And my wife said, "You serious about this business thing?" And I say, "Yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in." So just being serious about the company day in and day out is so valuable. And when you understand what your employees need and how they want to be treated, you give them that feeling of wanting to come in and day out. Because employees can go to any other organization. Why come to Grassland? You know, why work for the organization? So outside of a dynamic compensation and benefits package, you still have to create that culture where they feel welcome. Right. We're like 65% Latino, so I'm speaking Spanish day in and day out, just so they feel comfortable. Like my boss really cares about me to learn my language, just simple things like that, you know, that I do. And I visit the projects on a weekly basis, and I shake hands. And my wife wouldn't recommend it, but all of my employees have my personal cell phone number. That's good. You know? That's
good. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, bro. So it's not like I'm trying to, you know, you only see the owner in a magazine or something like that. Yeah. They need to have a good reason for calling me. Right. But they have my personal cell number. Right. So just having that kind of relationship with your employees, I believe is so important. And I don't want to speak bad on my previous employer because I learned a lot, and that's why I'm here today. But I tried to pull out the things that I didn't like from the organization, and try to curb that. And a lot of things that he did do, I still do to this day. You know?
Awesome. So that's a testament to chewing the meat and spitting out the bones, recognizing that every experience you've had in the past was leverage for your future. And I think that's a great place. And I believe this, you know, I'm a man of faith, so I speak faith all the time. Absolutely. Is that literally I trust that God uses all of my experiences for my purpose and for my success. And so it sounds like it was the same for you. You was able to benefit and glean from those experiences working in those other three companies. And you were able to say, hey, they did it this one. I think for a lot of people in our communities, we don't value that as much. Like, even the hard things that we don't want to do, we're still learning something. We're getting something out of it that God is going to use in our future. And I think sometimes we miss that. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Like, when we're in it, we kind of miss that. And then when we come out of it, we look back, you're like, oh, yeah, that's why I had to do it this way. Yes. You know, that's why when I went in for a company, drywall company I worked for, I did my annual review. I tell this story a lot. My wife probably heard of it. And I went in for my annual review. And of course, it's primarily white. I'm one of the few blacks, and it's a company that has 6 locations around the nation, and I'm still one of the few blacks, right? And so I come in, and the guy says, Michael, man, you've been great at everything. I was an estimator at the time. Man, we don't have anything bad to say about you. You've been doing great. You've been bidding so much of our work, and we've been winning work, blah, blah, blah. And he's just saying, giving me all this praise. And I'm thinking, yes, I'm about to get a big raise, right? He said, we got one thing, though. Got one thing. You need to upgrade your wardrobe. And so for me back then, me dressing nice was my church clothes. And they say I come from the country. So you can imagine what my church clothes look like in the country. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And so I'm like, dude, I don't know anything about penny loafers and a master shirt and a fancy belt and slacks and Dockers, and I don't know anything about that. And but what that did teach me, even though I hated it, and my first inclination was to say, well, Joker, give me more money so I can go get a upgraded wardrobe, exactly. But I recognized later on in life, sometimes you only get one time to make a first impression. And some people see you based on even how you're dressed. And, it just took time for me to even realize that, I'm a young kid growing up. I don't know anything about how dress and appearance has any correlation to what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And so as I become an executive and a CEO of my business, then I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So I think, to what you spoke about earlier, we go through those lessons, those hard lessons, even some of the painful ones, things that we don't like, that we would never incorporate or do in our business, but we learn from it.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's next for Fabian, and what's next for Grasslands? What is next for you all?
I would like to expand into new markets to help diversify.
Like what?
We're looking to get into commercial solar. Okay. We build. We're on a large percentage of municipal projects, so why not bring solar to that market? You know, and I can only speak to OCPS. They're starting to do some of that, but if we could put a focus on that and add that to our business model, now we can have that added value for our client. So since we're already building the school, why not connect and partner with the engineers and say, hey, let's supplement the power, the utilities, on these large projects. So commercial solar, I would like to go into hotel and multifamily that has an ESG focus, similar to the municipal.
What's ESG?
ESG is environmental. S stands for social, and G is the governance. So we have a high impact on social right now with the minority and our employees and caring for them. But the environmental is the whole solar,
sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability for the businesses or whatever structures that are being built. And the governance, just having those ethicals, those code ethics for just how we do business, just the policies and procedures. So the ESG focus is really what we like to do. Okay. So commercial solar, hotel, and multifamily is what we would like to get into.
Okay. So awesome. Do you think your approach to your strategy will be different or the same?
I think the approach would be the same. We have to stay with our same business model. That makes sense to me. We don't want to walk away from what we've already built and want to sustain. Yeah. But just to diversify, God forbid another recession, a pandemic, you got to diversify your portfolio. Right. So that's why I would like to continue to diversify into those markets that are sustainable for us.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome, bro. Listen, I applaud you.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
If you don't do another thing, bro, you're already succcesul.
Yeah.
I want you to hear this. I want this to get down in your soul.
I appreciate it, Mike.
Like for real, bro.
Appreciate it.
Like your life is a testament to what is possible. And more people need to hear stories like yours.
Yes.
Like what is possible, being in the right place, doing the right things, trying to get better, working on yourself. Like those are huge things. And if I could just maybe leave you some thoughts to consider. You could do $100 million if you want. Depends on if that's what you want. I will also say that there are other opportunities out there that you could easily break into by leveraging your resume that you already have. Those industries that you want to move into, they're open for you. It's about leveraging the things you already know: relationships, resume, resources. It's stuff you already know. But I'm telling you, as a big brother, that from what I learned is that sometimes there's fear in going into the unknown. So we hesitate. We don't move as fast because we're not sure. And I would say this is that the things that we're afraid of often are the things that hold us back from fulfilling what God has purposed for us. And so I said that to say this: those other markets you want to explore and go into, I don't want you to feel like you have to leverage your existing relationships to get in them. Leverage your resume and your resources to get in them, because it's open for you.
Yes.
You've proven yourself. You don't have to prove yourself to nobody else. And so I want you to really, really get that in your spirit. Like you have nothing else to prove.
Yes.
Like to nobody.
Yes.
I don't care who they are. I don't care what they look like. Fabian and Grasslands has nothing else to prove. Bruh, be you. Do what you want to do. And most importantly, do what makes you happy.
Yes.
All right. Listen, Fabian, thank you, man, for joining us on this episode of Revenue Disruptor Podcast. Listen, if you're out there, you're looking to grow your business, most importantly, you're looking to win $1 million contracts, I want you to go ahead, subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you soon. God bless you. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. I'm so excited about your new journey. And if you are a construction contractor looking to win $1 million contracts, join me by going to www.winmilliondollarcontracts.com. See you soon.